to another episode of our Kings-related podcast and post-game recap on this Thursday evening, where the Sacramento Kings have now dropped their 7th straight game tonight to the Philadelphia 70s. And this is the third losing streak this season of 7 games or more. But before we get into tonight's recap, thank you as always for joining me for another edition of the show. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you give us a follow on Apple Podcasts or whatever your favorite podcast platform is, and check us out on YouTube. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notify bell, hit that thumbs up, and leave a comment down below. That will be much appreciated. The Sacramento Kings, so close yet so far away in this game tonight. As the Sacramento Kings, they did hold a late lead in this game in the fourth quarter. They were up as much as 10, I believe, in the fourth on this Thursday night in South Philly. But the fourth quarter reared its ugly head again tonight, and they couldn't close it out. And you had the tandem of Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid were absolutely too much for the Kings, as the Sixers, they walk away on this Thursday night with a 111 to a 113-111 win tonight thanks to a Maxey game-winning shot. And the Kings, who haven't won on the East Coast since that win in December in Miami, are still searching for the first win on the East Coast. And again, Maxey, who had a game-high 40 points tonight, 12 of 18 shooting. Joel Embiid, 37 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 30 shooting. The two of them for Philadelphia, a combined 77 points of the 13 put up by Philadelphia as a team. Just absolutely too much to handle for the Sacramento Kings. But if you want to look at a bright spot for the Sacramento Kings, the rebounding total for the Sacramento Kings, as they really pounded the boards tonight in favor of Sacramento. Just looking here at the total rebounds, absolutely dominated on the glass in this game, 46-24 in favor of the Sacramento Kings tonight. Just absolutely incredible. And despite the Kings shooting 50% from the field, they secured 15 offensive rebounds. And the fourth quarter scoring struggles continue as they were outpaced in that fourth quarter, 25-19. They took a lead by converting 72% of their looks tonight in that third quarter. That third quarter was absolutely incredible because, Philadelphia, they are a league worse in the third quarter. The Kings plus 10 tonight, 38-28 in the third quarter. That's where the Kings really made their run. But the fourth quarter shooting reappeared in this game, and the Kings suffered their 7th straight loss tonight. And depending on how you look at it, you're playing against one of the most talented Eastern Conference teams in the Sixers. And tonight, the Kings did not have the services of Keegan Murray Malik Monk and Russell Westbrook tonight. And given those guys out, there was a heavy reliance tonight on the remaining guards. And yet, the most talented guard in this game was Philadelphia's Tyrese Maxey, who absolutely tore it up from the beginning of the game all the way to the end. Again, 77 points between Maxey and Embiid. Just incredible. But the Kings, whether this was a showcase or not, and if the Kings are trying to move DeMar DeRozan, because I believe DeRozan could help some playoff teams out there. He'll coming up, we're a week away from the deadline. Whether the Kings trade him or not, he is showing teams around the NBA that he can be an elite hired gun. And DeRozan tonight, he torched Philadelphia. 9 for 15 shooting, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds to go along with another solid night. And with Westbrook out, that means Dennis Schroeder got the start at point guard. And Schroeder, he put up 14 of his 27 points tonight in the first half. And he also chipped in four rebounds and 2 assists. Much better night from Dennis the Menace tonight in Philadelphia. Off the bench, after missing 2 straight games with lower back soreness, Zach LaVine played with that second unit, and to be honest, you couldn't tell if he played or not because he couldn't buy a bucket in this game early on, but he bounced back late. 17 points on 5 for 16 shooting, and he came up huge late. He had a big 3 in the late in that fourth quarter, but again, the Philadelphia tandem was too much for Sacramento tonight. Domantas Sabonis, who rarely gets pushed around on the floor very often, but the big man, Domas, he struggled tonight against Joel Embiid. 4 fouls tonight. He recovered a bit late in the game tonight to finish with 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. But it wasn't an easy night for Sabonis or any of the Kings' big men going up against Embiid and the Philly big men tonight in this game. And speaking of tough lessons, you had the Sixers, who present themselves with some tough matchups in this game, especially for the Kings rookies. Dylan Cardwell, who nearly fouled out in this game in 14 minutes. Max Renault, who grabbed 7 rebounds tonight on 8 points, and Nick Clifford, who had a solid game in New York for his first game at MSG. Not a great showing tonight, just 1 of 7 from the field. And hey, that is a life of being a rookie in the NBA. You're gonna struggle, and you're gonna have some good nights. It's all part of the learning experience for these Kings rookies as they continue to get valuable experience. And it doesn't get any easier, as tomorrow night you got a back-to-back in Boston, taking on a really good Boston Celtics team who right now I believe they're top 5 in the Eastern Conference, playing incredibly well without Jason Tatum. So, and Jaylen Brown playing out of his mind this season for Boston, playing incredibly well. So, not going to be an easy game for the Kings tomorrow. So, Kings, they are now 12-37 on the season. 7 straight losses for the Kings, and they are still winless on this 6-game road trip, 0-4, and I'm probably going to guarantee you that tomorrow might be 0-5 on this road trip, and probably a straight loss for this losing streak. So they lose in Philadelphia to the Sixers, 113 to 111 tonight. So Kings back in action tomorrow night in Boston, taking on the Celtics, and we will be here for another post-game recap following that game tomorrow night. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below. That'd be much appreciated as well. We are a video podcast on Spotify and on YouTube, so by all means, please go catch the video feed. But until next time, thank you as always for joining me for another edition of our Kings related podcast, post game recap. And before we head out, you got the NBA trade deadline coming up. I think it's a week from today, just 8 days away, and it's very known that plenty of these players on this team are available in possible deals. We'll see if any of them get moved. But as the cliche goes, it takes two to tango. So finding another team willing to take on the big contracts that is Zach, Sabonis, Monk, DeRozan, and even Schroeder isn't an easy task. So that may be one of the reasons that the most likely player come next week to be moved could be Keon Ellis, because with Ellis being on a expiring minimum contract, he's easy for any team to acquire. If a team were to trade for him, they would also obtain his bird rights, allowing them to go over the salary cap to re-sign him. And given that flexibility, there seems to be a very healthy market for Keon Ellis around the NBA. Well, I believe more than 10 teams interested in him. So no team dealing with a second apron limitations could acquire his salary for free, but it still leaves plenty of options. So we'll see what happens with the trade deadline coming up next week. I'm just looking forward to seeing more of the rookies getting extended playing time post All-Star break and the deadline to see their further development for the rest of this season. Thank you as always for joining me on the Kings related podcast and this post-game recap. We'll see you tomorrow night following the Kings and the Celtics. And as always, go Kings.